phone with me. Everybody, welcome to the February 6, 2024 meeting of the Litchfield Planning Board. Would you all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'll do the roll call of members. Michael Croto, Chair.
Jeremy Robitaille, member.
Sam Terrell, member.
Kimberly Queenan, Selectmen's Rep.
Jared O'Connell, member.
Okay, good evening. Kate Stevens, I believe, will be joining us later this evening. I did receive an email from her. First item, and obviously welcome Jay Minkara, our circuit rider from NRPC, and Joan McKibben, our planning board administrators here tonight. Public input on non-agenda items not listed on tonight's agenda. Anybody from the public have any public input? Yes, sir. Why don't you come forward to the table and state your name and address?
George Lavash, 13 Pearson Street. Actually, I have something I'd like to give you guys. So I have been to a number of meetings, and I
Thank you.
thought I found something that maybe we could change the wording, or I'm going to propose changing. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, so these are just two things that I thought should be brought up, and I've brought both of them up, I think, before in other meetings, but I'm gonna make a specific request that you take a look at this and maybe consider it. I think you have to go in front of the town anytime you change zoning ordinance, so it's probably a year out. I understand that, but I just thought I'd do this semi-formally. So when I was looking at a new development in town, was questioning how long the cul-de-sac was, and I did some research on towns around us and other towns in New Hampshire, and a lot of them have limits on the length of cul-de-sacs. And I also found a document that I've linked here on this piece of paper that shows all of the towns in Massachusetts. There isn't such a document in New Hampshire, or not one that I found, but you can see that Manchester has a 600-foot limit, Hudson has 1,000-foot, Merrimack has 1,200-foot, Bedford, Amherst, Wyndham, all at 1,200 feet. And these limitations, I think, are for safety reasons. You know, there's only a single point of access and egress, so if, you know, say there was a natural disaster, a tree fell down or something like that, you can only go out one way or in one way. And so it might be something that the planning board should look into. And since Merrimack, Bedford, Amherst, Wyndham, they all have 1,200 feet, you know, seems 1,200 feet is, might be a reasonable number. I'm just basing that on what I saw. I'm just bringing this to your attention so that you guys can consider it whenever you do your wording or new ordinance review. The second proposal I have is in regards to the yield plan. So I have the definition here, and it says that a yield plan is a plan that depicts the maximum number of buildable lots that would be permitted in a conventional subdivision that meets the applicable state and local requirements absent waivers or variances. So I thought, I have a suggestion, is that we should add something that states, while special exceptions may be made for roads, for a lot to be deemed buildable in the yield plan, it must not require any special exceptions. And the intent there is just to remove the ambiguity of and prevent counting of lots that would impact wetlands, right? So there was some confusion. How do we treat these driveways that impact wetlands? And if we did something like that, it specifically says that you can't have a special exception for what you deem as a buildable lot. And I know this is wording changes for future things, but I thought that might clear it up, and I think that's the actual intent of the yield plan, as it was written. But by putting the word special exception in there, it may remove what might be a loophole.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, I made these points before, but I thought if I spelt them out and pointed them out in various language, that maybe it could move forward.
All right, well, we will definitely take a look at these, and I think it'll be something to put on our agenda for this year, and as we go towards next town meeting.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Next item on the, okay, so the first item on the agenda this evening, on the actual agenda, planning board interview for possible new member Rosie Medina. And I do not see the applicant.
I just put in a call to him, and
Yeah.
it went to voicemail.
Okay. All right. So we'll skip over this one for now and go to number 2. Return of escrow funds for VAB Properties LLC. Joan, do you want to talk about this
Sure.
one?
That's for the storage units down in the southern part on 3A. And there's $1,100 left.
1,100.
Well,
Okay.
good. Were you coming to the interview tonight? This is for the planning board?
Want me to switch? Do you want the outlet? I can switch. You want to switch?
Okay, hang on a second. Hang on a second. This is Mr. Medina. He was confused about, he didn't know if something else was happening first, or do you want him to come down, or what do you want?
Well, I mean, he was on the agenda for this evening. I mean,
Well, you're on the agenda for this evening if you want to come down tonight. We started already, 7 o'clock. Okay, very good, thank you. Bye. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so back to VAB. There's been no activity on that escrow amount since December of 2020, so I believe that they're all set on their site.
okay. So I guess we're looking for a motion to release the escrow for $1,100. Does anyone want to make that motion?
I'll make a motion to release the escrow balance, $1,119 plus remaining interest.
Plus interest, right?
Okay. For VAB Properties LLC, any, do I have a motion, do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Second from Jeremy. Any further discussion?
I just have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know the process, so do they have to trigger that they want it, or if it ages out like this, they get a check?
Well, it's aging out, and I don't, it may say in there that they have to trigger it, I'm not positive of that, but, we have these escrow accounts just sitting there, and every month they get interest, so we have to post it, and it's just, a lot of paperwork on our end from
So-
Karen and myself.
Can we say to release it then? Or does he have to, or they, a company have to do that? I don't know.
I don't think they have to, say they want it released.
They often do,
They,
but
yeah,
they don't have to.
sometimes they don't even remember that they have the money left over. I mean, they don't, if they don't get an accounting every month, some of them want an accounting every month, but a lot of them don't. They don't realize, what they have left, if they have anything left.
And it's all done, there's nothing in front of us, right?
Right.
for VAB, they've been done for a while. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, we'll take a vote. All those in favor of the motion to return the escrow, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 5-0-0. Okay, thank you. Deliberative session, so I guess maybe before we get to that, Joan, is he coming?
Said 15 or 20 minutes.
Okay. So we'll go to number 3 then. A deliberative session comments or results.
Bad move.
Any comments from the deliberative session? I don't think there were any questions, my understanding. Kate had filled in for me, unfortunately. But, yeah, she said there was no questions for any of the
Quiet.
changes.
I don't remember any questions.
No? Yeah, how was the attendance?
And I don't even think they connected it was with EPA.
They mentioned the EPA
Did
on
they?
one of them.
But nobody really brought it up.
Stormwater.
Yeah, that was a big one.
But there was no real comments about that stuff.
How long to go?
2 hours.
It was 2 hours, yeah. I don't think there were many people there.
No.
I counted about 60. I was bored. That's good.
Number, yeah.
Okay, good. So I guess he's supposed to be coming, I guess. So we'll move on to committee reports. Any reports from any committees? Jeremy, you
Yeah,
wanna start with
so
economic development, I'm
Yep.
sorry.
Economic Development Committee met last Wednesday. It was a great meeting. We have pretty much finalized our initial questionnaire for the public. So that'll be coming your way very soon as we finalize our ways to get it out there. And we meet again, should be, hold on one second. I think the 21st we're doing? No? 22nd. We meet again February 22nd at 6:30, right here.
Sam, anything on energy?
Yep, Energy Committee meets on February 29th at 6 PM here at Town Hall. We're gonna be discussing just ideas on how the town can better utilize the energy, get better efficiency and reduce costs. So if you have any ideas or anything that you think is costing a lot of energy from the town, come on to the Energy Committee on the 29th and pitch us your ideas.
Kim, what do you have?
The Energy Committee also had an article, and it, I think, was received. So, I think even we got one person in there saying, are there other departments doing this, looking to kind of save money? We used NRPC as an example. The town has saved $83,000 last year with what we're doing with the town buildings, so hopefully that goes well. Let's see, SIP doesn't meet until after election. Board of Selectmen is meeting Monday, February 12th, 6:30 PM here at the Town Hall. NRPC is meeting, their quarterly meeting is early, it's not March, it's gonna be February 21st this year. That'll be 7 PM, 30 Temple Street in Nashua. And we had a deliberative session, as you know.
7:19 p.m.
Oh, school, I guess, is next weekend. I'm not sure where it is. I know it's on February 10th. Is
At the high school.
it at the high school?
Auditorium.
Auditorium, so February 10th, this weekend. And then the town elections will be coming up on March 12th. A week, a month, I guess, about 5 weeks. And that's all I have.
Okay. I believe Conservation is meeting this Thursday at 7 PM here in Town Hall.
At 6:30.
Oh, at 6:30, I'm sorry. I always get that on, 6:30 in Town Hall.
Get you one more. Get you one
As
more.
Kim mentioned, CIP is not gonna be till spring, so, we'll wait on that. And, the Lower Merrimack Local River Advisory Committee actually did send me an email about a meeting. If I can find it, I don't know. No, I don't know. I believe it's February 21st, I think. And that, I think, is in Nashua. So there will be a meeting of the Lower Merrimack River Local Advisory Committee, if anyone is interested.
Are you going to that?
I might.
Because
I
that's
don't
also
know.
the NRPC night as well.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
both
is.
of February 21st.
Oh, it is, okay. Okay, I'll have to decide then.
Compare the
Decisions.
agenda is what looks more interesting.
I'll consider that. I'll take that under consideration, thank you.
Hi.
Go ahead,
See
all
you
right.
again.
So, yeah, that's all I have to report, and Kate's not here, so, skip over her.
May I make one more?
Yeah, absolutely.
We had done work on route, Albuquerque signage and, you know, maybe signs and that, lights. So, next Board of Selectmen meeting, I just want to maybe work with them, ask them if we can get something in our portal going of ideas for warrant articles or something in the future. I think that one might have slipped. So, unfortunately, so I want that to be in there, even if it's decided not, but at least as far as SIP or they want to go forward with it, just so it's there, just being carried forward, and then they can make a decision at the end of the year.
That's a good point. We
So
have that whole
we-
study
yeah.
with all the recommendations in it.
So, just to let you know, I'll bring that up. And then, do you want me to also bring up, we need alternate members, as I think we have 6 at the moment?
You can put that under any other business if you wanna.
No, okay, so I'll just let them know then.
Yeah.
You're okay.
Okay,
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
no problem. I'll move to the approval of the January 2nd and January 29th meeting minutes.
Okay, I did not have the 29th.
Yeah, I have the 29th. Okay, so we'll table,
They've been posted. They were
29th,
posted yesterday.
they were posted.
29th?
Yes,
Do you send them directly to me?
I sent you an email and I also put it online.
Okay,
Okay.
well, you can hold on.
But it's not listed on our portal?
No, I did the portal Monday. But Kate sent some corrections on January 2nd.
I did see that. And I don't know if everybody had an opportunity to take a look at those. I know some people, because I think it was sent to me and to you, Joan. I don't think it was sent to the entire board.
Oh,
Can defer them both if you need to.
Yeah, I think maybe for the purposes, because I think Kim might have some questions. I know she was asking about it.
Yeah, I had
and-
2, but I still want to look at what everyone else is
Review
saying
them.
to make sure.
Yeah.
I hate to make it,
I know.
they're gonna be golden when we're done. Gonna be awesome.
So
Month
do you
old
want-
and golden.
Do you want me to send Kate's to everyone then?
Yes, send-
Because I can't, I
send-
don't want to give these to Matt because unless everybody sees it.
Right, so let's do that. Let's send those, that Kate sent to everybody so that everybody has an opportunity to review them,
Okay.
okay?
And then there was that question on the January 2nd as well from
an
an abutter
You
that,
had made some edits. Do you want us to send those around too?
If you want to share it, go ahead, yeah.
So Jeremy also sent,
I made a Word doc with some comments for that
Minutes.
major section.
did you send him?
I just sent it to Mike tonight, so.
so I
Is that the
can
original?
forward it to
No.
you,
Okay.
and you can forward it to the
And
board.
then I'll forward everything. And then there was that
Who-
correction
whose is
also
that, you?
on, from,
So, I mean, we all have to pool our,
Right.
is that your final?
No,
Oh,
this is
okay.
just what's posted.
Do we need a motion to vote to, okay, so I guess we're gonna need a motion to table those minutes again.
Till what day?
20th?
Go to the next meeting?
So
second
February-
and the 29th.
The 29th.
29th.
No, I think she's talking about the minutes.
Oh,
20th. Minutes,
The 20th would be the
20th.
meeting, right?
Yeah.
What are we talking-
I'll make a motion to table the January 2nd and
Oh,
January
sure.
29th minutes to February 20th meeting
Oh, okay.
of the planning
Okay.
board.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by
Oh,
Kim.
I'm sorry.
That'd be quick. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, abstained, motion passes 500. Thank you.
So then we'll have 3 sets to,
Yeah.
20th, okay.
Well-
It's gonna be a long night.
Yeah, I know. Well,
This one should be pretty straightforward so far.
this is why,
Subdivision.
this is why we come to these meetings. Dedication. Any other business? Kim, if you want to talk about what you were mentioning before about the members for the planning board?
Pretty much there.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'll ask if they're okay with, I mean,
Yeah,
do you
go
want me
ahead.
to bring back that we would like alternate members, so they are
Absolutely.
aware of
We
it?
want members, so that's,
All
you know.
right, so, then they can post that. Yep.
Okay.
And about the signage on Albuquerque, just to make sure that doesn't fall off the radar.
Okay. Anything else? Anything else from anybody?
I'm sure there is.
I got a couple things. So I'll just hand this out, but we don't, need to talk about it tonight, but,
good.
just, now I'm thinking about regulatory changes. So one of the things that the consultant, for the MS4, consultant, did raise was, we had actually two different things we had to do. One was adopt an ordinance. The other was amend our regulations, and so he went through our regulations and suggested a whole series of changes. There's a lot of changes that he has suggested, so I figured I would, pass this out to everybody. Well, we could put it on the portal as well, with the idea of maybe, if we have a night coming up where we don't have applications, we could maybe even devote it to a workshop and look at regulations. Anything else we want to talk about? I was thinking maybe the 5th of March.
Yeah,
Um,
we just have one small thing on the 5th of March so far.
Okay, so if we could do that, and if it can't be, then it's the second meeting, but, also just in terms of what was suggested to us tonight, the changes to the yield plan language is clearly zoning, but actually you could adopt a cul-de-sac, limit if you wanted to, under the town's street regulations, which are adopted by the planning board. We actually have pretty detailed regulations on streets, including all kinds of dimensional requirements, specific requirements for cul-de-sac. So, again, if you wanted to, we could bring that up. The other item I know that we had talked about, under amendments for site plan was, the question around, we have building design guidelines, but not guidelines for other structures such as canopies over gas pumps. And so do we want to broaden our language so that we have, in essence, requirements, aesthetic requirements, around other types of structures? So I know that was in our checklist. Those were, that was the other item that I recall we wanted to address. There might be more, so might be just time to look at workshop stuff.
I would agree, and I think this might be, this year, we may want to look at, looking at, specifically at our site plan
Yeah.
regulations, but as a whole, and maybe going through the chapters and sort of reviewing them, and if we want to make changes to things that we see, I think that's something we should start looking at.
And this is a good window for us, because once we get, towards the fall, then we're talking zoning amendments, because we've got a deadline, so this is kind of a good time to talk regulations, so if we could do that, I think it'd be great. There's the other thing to just mention, I think I mentioned it a while back, but we are working on, an update to the population and housing section of the master plan, which I think is timely. And so maybe we could have a draft ready for the meeting as well,
Okay.
for workshop. If we,
Sure.
if we can't, we'll have it in the future, but
Yeah.
it'd be nice to have a chance just to talk about some of these other things
Right.
as we catch our breath.
Right, exactly, and, but I think that's gonna be, the focus this year is gonna be on that, but,
Right.
yeah, I think those are, but I think these are good things, I mean, I think these are things that need to be looked
Right.
at, and, I like that, so. Anybody have anything to add for that?
I have something that I think you should, rather than me, mention to Mr. Medina. February 20th, we have two cases coming in, one that he will be in a butter to, so that he would have to step down into the audience as an abutter.
Okay. Okay. Anything else, Jeff? John, do you have anything?
No, except that February 20th, we do have Tellerico Street coming in, and then we have two items at the north end that are kind of combined that Jim Petropoulos is presenting, and he realizes that he will be behind Talarico, and he just wants to try and get the application accepted, just acceptance at that point.
What is that? Is it a subdivision?
It's, no, it's two site plans, a site plan to take down the, sand hill where Mel's used to park,
Oh, okay,
and that's a combination of Mel's and Rick Charbonneau
yeah,
application. Then there's one of the lots that Rick subdivided that's coming in for mixed use, commercial and residential.
okay.
The furthest one to the north of those three.
Okay. All right, very good. All
So are we
right.
gonna have an agenda item in future meetings for things like cul-de-sacs and stuff?
Well, it's for workshop purposes. So whenever we have a workshop, we'll notice it. And, it's like almost like a public hearing, so we'll have an opportunity to discuss, you know, the zoning changes or site plan changes or whatever is coming.
So
before
that's,
us.
is that a street section in the appendix?
Yes. And again, it's something we could do. I mean,
Yeah.
So, yeah, and periodically we do that, especially when we have time, as we like, we try to hold workshops so we can actually talk about regulatory updates or zoning amendments, and it's nice if you get a breather between a lot of cases, which we haven't had a lot of.
Rick is here.
Is that him? Yeah.
Ready to get in?
Okay, perfect. Hello. Perfect timing. That's all right.
I tried.
That's okay. So we'll go back to number 1 on the agenda, planning board interview for possible new member Rosie Medina. Mr. Medina, if you want to come to the table and introduce yourself to the board.
Rose Medina,
Okay. And your address?
442 Charles Bancroft Highway, Litchfield, New Hampshire.
Okay. So this is an application, I think we had, if I'm not mistaken, we had tabled this for tonight,
Yeah. what-
I think.
this is-
And so I think
Set up.
we had done your interview last time. I think we had asked you a bunch of questions. You're still interested in the planning board? Is
Yes,
that-
yeah, the last time you said you had to consider, and then you said that it was best if I choose between this one and the other one, so I dropped out of the other one.
So you dropped out of the other one?
Yeah.
Was that the zoning board?
Yes.
Okay, okay. Okay, all right. So we do have an applicant who is seeking to become a member. Does anybody have any questions for the applicant? Anything that you want to ask the applicant this evening, or? I know we had, we'd done a basic overview of what the planning board was like, and I think we talked about, when our meetings are and, what we do and so forth, and expressed your interest. Is there anything else that anyone wants to?
Well, he should be aware that he has to go to, whatever the planning board does tonight, he has to go to the selectmen for an interview.
Right, so this is really, it's a recommendation?
Yes,
to the
that
board.
you,
I think
the
I
last time
mentioned
you
that.
told me that, yeah.
Yeah, so it would be
this is-
to recommend you to
And
the
then I
board
gotta
of
go to the
selectmen.
select board. Yeah.
Then you would go before the select board
Yep.
like this, and
Remember you
they
said that.
would make the approval.
And then you have to be sworn in by the town clerk.
Right,
I remember you were saying that, correct.
okay. Does anybody want to make a motion to accept or recommend Mr. Medina to his application to the Board of Selectmen?
I have a question, though.
Yeah, go
Still,
ahead.
Do you think you can make it here on time for the 7 o'clock?
Yeah, so the last time it was a little bit confused. I was home, so the last time we got confused because I had to drop from the other one, but the other one was canceled because of the snow. So I wasn't sure if I had to go to the other one and drop it officially before coming to this one. So I wasn't, 100%, but yeah, I could make it anytime.
Okay,
I just wasn't sure. If I knew it was today 100%, I would have been here on time because I'm always on time.
okay.
You would like to be a member, not an alternate?
A member, if it's possible.
Okay.
It's the first and third Tuesdays, two
Mhm.
meetings a month.
Yep, I remember you were saying that to me too.
Okay.
So I watched the video. I wasn't here the last time you were here, but I did watch the whole video, and I have one concern that sticks out among everything, and it was the sort of nonchalant accusation of racism against one of our members of the town here. That really stuck with me, and it kind of, to me, I think it's just disqualifying. It showed the lack of judgment. It was too casual to know that you would do something like that, which can really tarnish someone's reputation. It really stuck with me, and so that's just my opinion.
Anybody have anything else? Does anyone want to take a vote? Make a motion?
Well, I have to state the obvious because our building inspector will be in these meetings. It's just the way it is, right? So your neighbor is also a business owner in town too. So you'd have to recuse yourself when they are here.
Yep, he was saying that the last time too.
But we have to work with the building inspector.
Mhm.
And stick to the RSAs and all of that. I have, it's been a little tough with you two. I get it. And, but
Just like
I
I was
just
saying
have
the
to be
last
aware
time.
of that, that we have to deal.
Yeah, like I was saying to him the last time, you gotta just separate, business and
Yep.
personal stuff.
Keep it professional, yep.
Exactly.
Okay. Anybody want to make a motion or to recommend to the Board of Selectmen?
What were the choices you said we had earlier? There was another mention, right?
Well, you can make a recommendation, you
Yep.
could recommend, you could make a motion not to recommend, or, you could take no action.
It's up to the board. I mean, it's a board decision, so.
And I just have to say honestly too, that the gentleman that you're talking about is in here a lot too.
Oh.
Is also in here a lot as well.
We just had our understanding the last time, and I had to say how I felt at that time.
So I guess I'll make a
Yeah,
motion
make a
not to
motion.
recommend.
Okay.
I'll second Sam's motion.
Second Sam's motion. Okay. I have a motion by Sam. I have a second by Jeremy. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Aye. Anybody abstained? So, looks like the motion failed. 2, 3, 0. Okay. Anyone want to make another motion?
So that was a negative, a double negative here. Let me understand this.
Double negative.
Make sure I have that.
Which doesn't necessarily make a positive.
So that motion failed.
Right,
Yes.
because we had 3 people that voted and 2, yeah.
It's a tough one. I think you'd be great at it, but I think there's contention with the business owners, and it's tough, because I do think he'd be good at what he does.
I think it might make sense for you to be an alternate, because you will have to recluse yourself in a higher percentage of cases than the average citizen in this town. And it might make sense to have a future full-time member take that place instead.
Can you reiterate alternate? They can still speak at the meetings, right?
And we can.
Yes.
Yeah, oh,
You can
yes.
still voice your opinion at
And
the meeting.
if
You just
we
can't
are,
vote unless you're asked to vote. That's the.
Because if one of us isn't here, then you step
If a
in.
regular member isn't here, you would fill the shoes of the regular member. And then the chair would ask you, would you vote as a regular member? And you would say yes, and then you would get a.
Can I have a talk with you?
Yeah, yeah.
So about the last time, now put yourself in my foot. He said a couple things here that everybody agreed. He was calling the inspector about personal things about me, which if you work, the inspector works for the town, not just for himself. So in ways, he shouldn't have to be calling the inspector on things that I'm doing, anything about my property. He should be calling the town, then the town deals with the inspector. But it seems like he was just picking up the phone because the inspector used to work for him and saying, hey, this is going on. And then the next day, I'll get a letter, but I was not getting a letter or anything at all.
Can I clarify something?
Yeah.
The inspector is also the code enforcement officer, so.
No, and
it
I-
might be what, when he picked up the phone, he was calling the town.
Okay, so maybe we don't want to
No, we don't want to
get
get into
into
that.
all of that.
No, what I'm saying is.
But I understand what you're coming
it's ho-
from. I get
it's-
it. I
it's-
get it.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not that I am saying, oh, it's how I felt. You know, it's nothing against him. When, like I said to you guys before you were here, I could hate somebody as much as I hate him. But when it's time to do something right for the town, you got to separate your hate, and it's what works for the town better, no matter what, at the end of the day. Like,
Yeah.
I've done business with a lot of people that you wouldn't see me nowhere with them. But if the business is right, you have to do it.
That makes sense. And the details of the dispute, you know, that was ongoing, and I understand it was dramatic. But what I said before, you kind of diverted from the substance of the dispute and mentioned maybe he's a racist. And it just, it shows a bit of a lack of judgment in my opinion.
Okay.
You know, regardless of that whole dispute and the outcome and everything, and he can be a pretty dramatic guy, you know, he has disputes with people in town all the time, he has disputes with us all the time, and it's not because of that sort of a thing, ever, so, I'm gonna stand by my opinion.
Okay.
I do think you have excellent qualifications, so I'll caveat it. I think, you know, you would bring a lot to the table, but I'm having a hard time getting past that
I
one.
respect your opinion.
Well, what would the board like to do? I mean, we can take another vote, or if you feel that that's the decision, I mean, what do you want to do?
Can you move it up to the Board of Selectmen without a?
Well, so again, it is a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. Board of Selectmen would have to approve the final, or have the final say. So he would have to go before the Board of Selectmen, and he would have to meet with them, so, and they would have to make that final decision.
But can you send it up there saying inconclusive, or whatever the term would be?
Defer.
Or do they have to have a yes or no?
Defer the decision.
Yes.
Just
I mean, obviously, it's preferable to have a yes or no.
Oh, I
but if you-
agree,
If
but-
you can't make a motion to recommend, then you can't.
does anyone like the idea of as having him?
He
as
only
an
has 6
alternate?
members though, so.
Right.
Yeah.
We have a vacancy on the board,
So
so.
it's-
it-
yeah, it's,
So
I
would- he'd
think,
always
yeah,
be
that's right,
appointed.
because it would be a regular vacancy at that point. And then if you got another person, then it would be an alternate
Yep.
position. So.
So, I mean, a thought is you could see if someone wants to make a motion to recommend, and if that, whether or not that passes, that's an option. If you can't, then you could, if the board wished and you voted so, then you could simply send a communication to the board that, there are differences of opinion, the board is split, and you're not able to make a recommendation. That would be an option.
Could we, I mean, if we had the vote, and if we take that vote, can he still go before the Board of Selectmen?
Absolutely. 'Cause it's
So
up to them.
technically, the Board of Selectmen would have the final say. but
That's right.
we'd make our decision, he would have to go before the Board of Selectmen, they would
Right.
have to they could override it.
That's right. Whatever recommendation you make, it's their decision, so it's just a recommendation.
Well, let's try this first. I'm gonna make a motion to recommend to the Board of Selectmen this applicant, for the position of Planning Board. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll have a second just so we can have some more discussion.
Okay, I have a second by Kim. Let's have discussion.
Flip it. Flip it.
Okay.
The 10. Oh, sounded like, okay for a second. Right now, I do feel he's qualified. I do feel there's contention, the same one I have, so I don't know if I have to recuse myself. But besides that, I'm just trying to flip the situation of the person that was here, that you mentioned in the minutes, and flip the situation around. Would we still have recommend him? If he was the one, I'm just trying to play
If
the
he was the one going on for the interview backwards
Well,
and that.
no,
So what
I'm trying to
happened?
think if there's another alternative. I'm trying it not to be, I don't even know if I can flip it. Just give me a moment, please. But from what I saw, you felt attacked, right?
So
Now,
when I
but
came
if you
here,
attacked
I don't know
first, I'm
him
just
like
trying to
that,
think to
but I
flip it, if
didn't-
how my vote would change.
everything was going good.
Yep.
And then I hear John was saying that they should have just had me at the interview by myself,
Mm-hmm.
nobody in the town, so you guys could hear everything. So I didn't came and started bashing out nobody. I came here, I answered every question that everybody had to my knowledge,
Okay.
and it just,
Yeah, I'm cutting you off. I'm gonna say this. I do believe there's gonna be contention but I do believe he's also qualified. And we can have contention with anybody. It's just, I can have 20 people with contention, I can love everybody out there, so.
There'd be a lot of abstaining, though, of stepping
agree.
down.
But again,
Recusing.
I agree, but that could be because he's related too, and he's, knows everybody in town, there could be reasons for that.
No, I mean.
But
because
I
it's-
understand, but I have to say, is he qualified or not, or is he just having a difference of opinion? So we hear one side, we hear the
No.
other side, but we don't know what
Well,
really
that
is
whole
going
discussion
on.
had no bearing on the application, actually.
That's what I'm saying, so we don't know, so take all of that
Yeah.
out.
now, sometimes things happen in life, but when somebody goes for an interview, you look at the person for what he is, or you look at the person if he's qualified for the job, what he's bringing to the table for the town.
Technically both, because you're gonna represent the town, so both matter.
So, would he need to recluse himself whenever Rick is here because
Well, that's my question.
he abuts Rick's property?
Well, there's two cases coming in in February 20th. One, he does abut, so he would definitely have to recuse to one of your abuts. And then there's another one across the street that person owns, but he wouldn't be an abutter. So could he make a fair judgment? Could you make a fair judgment on that case?
Like I said, it's whatever is best for the town. I can't just look at a person because I had, like you're saying, I had an encounter with him or something. I'm gonna look at and talk to everybody and be like, this is the best thing for the town and we should vote on this, not because this person did this or that.
And something I always tell everyone that comes in, and remember Steve Perry saying when he was on the planning board that it was correct, it's about a year learning curve to be on, to understand how everything works on the planning board. I'll give you the manual if you get.
So we have a motion. We have a second. Anybody have anything else?
Well, if I abstain, 'cause I'm not sure yet, you might have a tie, just
Okay.
letting you know.
Okay,
We still have a
okay.
person not here, I'm just saying.
Any word from Kate?
I don't think she's coming, because she said something about maybe being here around 7:30, and doesn't look like that's happening, so.
So what are we, what are we weighing here? Can you do the job, or is there gonna be a lot of contention? That's really what, and then what you said too, right? Thinking,
Again, it's,
I thought there was a
Is
lapse
that
in
really-
judgment, yeah.
and again, it's a recommending to the Board of, to be, the applicant to go before the Board of Selectmen for approval. So it's another board that's gonna make the final decision. I'm just letting them.
and they may have information we don't. We have your side, and the other side. I don't have all the information, they may. So,
That's really what it is. We have an application, we have someone who has an interest.
What would happen if the motion tied?
And then we fit.
when the dice show up.
Then the motion would fail,
Yeah,
and.
I think it would have to,
Right, and then you'd probably be back to what I was saying earlier, you'd probably have to then communicate that you were unable to reach,
right.
you know, a recommendation.
And again, he can still go before Board of Selectmen,
That's right.
and, but it's just, we're not gonna be, the motion's just gonna be tied, it's gonna fail, it's just not gonna, that's just what happened. So,
But at that point, you've kind of exhausted your possibilities because you made a motion in each direction, so.
Yeah.
so. All right, well, we have a motion on the, well, I made the motion, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Guess who's here?
Tiebreaker, maybe?
You're right on time.
I didn't think you were coming.
I was late too.
Oh,
Glad you could
that's
make
his
it.
life.
You might be sorry, or,
Yeah, you might be sorry, you're. But you-
Well, there's about to be a motion being
There was
made.
one motion that,
So if there wasn't any contention, I don't see a problem. So that's me. I'm just weighing in that.
So,
Should we give her the background of the previous
Yeah,
motion
yeah.
first?
Yeah.
so there was a motion not to recommend, and that failed on a 3-2 vote. Now there is a motion to recommend.
That we haven't
It's
voted on
been
yet.
made, the motion's been made, it's been seconded, but it hasn't been voted on.
We're
And
having
can I
discussion.
vote on that if I wasn't here, even though I was listening on the
did you
video?
listen to the, Sam's discussion?
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
Yes.
you can vote on it.
Yeah, you-
If
We're voting on the
if you
application,
feel
so-
you're- If you feel you can, you can.
Yeah, if you're
Okay.
comfortable.
And the motion to, it was a motion to not recommend.
Correct. The failed
What
2, 3.
failed. Okay, all right, just the double, I gotta figure out the double.
Double negative, correct.
All right, thank you. Okay, continue.
Okay. So, that's basically where we are. We have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion on that motion?
So Kim should mention what you were saying, so Kate can understand what you were
Yeah.
just saying.
To me, I do think you're qualified. I'm weighing the contention because we have a key business owner, a butter situation. So a citizen has come in. I feel they're qualified. We know, we hear your side. We see the other side, but I don't know what's true or not. The Board of Selectmen may know, working with the town administrator. So you know, like I said, both sides are saying something. I can't validate either, so I just, sorry, that's just my note to the board. So anyway, that's, you know, I have contention with people. Usually I don't. It's usually 99 to 100. But just because you have a contention with somebody doesn't mean you don't have a free say in our society. As long as you stay in the RSA rules, is what I'm leaning at.
I think we've explained to the applicant, you know, if there's a conflict, sometimes you have to recuse yourself, if that's the case, or, you know. you would have to disqualify yourself. And I think he understands that. He understands what that is. So.
And I've thought quite a bit about this because I think I had mentioned at our previous meeting that I wanted to review zoning meetings, and that wasn't necessarily because of the zoning topic. It was more for to see how everyone handled themselves during those meetings. And kind of the conclusion that I came to was we can't hold anyone accountable for an action that they haven't committed yet. So I think that as an applicant, you have said you will recuse yourself when necessary, and you will dedicate yourself to being impartial.
Yes.
And I think we should believe that as any other applicant would do. And if an issue arises down the road, we handle that then. But as of right now, there's no reason to conclude that someone may not be impartial, because we can't see the future.
And as I've explained, this is to recommend him, the applicant, to go before the Board of Selectmen.
Yes.
for approval.
Yeah, and the selectmen will.
So, okay, with all of that being motion, do you want to take a vote? All right, all those in favor of the motion to recommend Mr. Rosie Medina to the planning board, to the Board of Selectmen as planning board applicant, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstained. Motion passes. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. 4 to 0, because Kate's here now. That's what
Sorry.
confused me. Okay, so your application has been, you've been recommended to go before the Board of Selectmen. Board of Selectmen will make the approval, and you're done.
Thank
That's
you
it.
very much.
Okay.
I appreciate you guys.
Thank
Good luck.
you. My apologies again.
No, that's okay. I got here late too. No worries. Have a great night, guys.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay. All right.
This thing is going nuts.
Well, I guess we went through any other business. Kate, do you have anything else this evening? I know we kind of went through the entire agenda. That was almost like the last thing.
Her budget stuff.
Deliberative is on Saturday.
Whatever on Saturday.
That's, I guess, for.
All right, so I guess with that said, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, abstained. Motion passes 6-0-0. And that concludes this evening's meeting. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you on February 20th. Have a good evening.